Okay, here we go. Everybody sit back, relax, enjoy as we begin our episode in 3, 2, 1.
大人気のパズルバブル2がプレイステーションザ・ベストに選ばれて登場。プレイステーション用ソフトパズルバブル2。
Good Lord.
Bubble Bobble 2 for the PlayStation. I'm getting better at Japanese, I think.
Yeah, I think you now know the language. You just didn't know it. I definitely did hear PlayStation in there. I heard it.
Yeah, I heard PlayStation. I heard Bubble Bobble. PlayStation's a proper name, so it's going to be pronounced PlayStation wherever it's set.
Yeah.
And Bubble Bobble 2 also a proper name. So look at that.
Distinct lack of commercials in the American North America for those games.
That voice actress or actress who voiced that commercial, very clear language, very well spoken. So even my dumb American ears could catch parts.
Yeah,
so something to say.
Good job. Mm-hmm. Something to say there. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Play Retro. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Johnson, and I'm a Bubble, or maybe I'm a Bobble. I don't know, but I think my dad called me Bub, so I'll figure I must be the latter. Either way, I have bubbles, and I must blow them. How else will I gorge myself on fruit unless I transmog my enemies into the fresh produce they were destined to be? I have a move, and it must... No, shit, I messed that up. I have a move, and I must bust it.
Oh, Bub, you're so close. And we're kind of on the same wavelength. I think I was kind of similar to this. And I'm your other host, Brian Dunaway, and I'm a little baby dinosaur full of soap bubbles. Bubbles that I use to dispatch my enemies by turning them into fruit and then consuming them. Wait, am I the monster? Don't care. Now let's play that song one more time while we delve deeper into the maw of the cave of verified monsters to rescue our girlfriends who are super cute in chains. I see no problem here. Hey, Candy Yum.
Yeah.
Hey, Candy Yum.
No problem at all. I'm sure it's fine that these girls are in chains, and there's no issues with the way we treat our dino girlfriends. It's fine.
That's dino girlfriends.
There's also there's a really creepy dude in a hood that looks like a wiener. So there's that.
Yeah, he's very Druish, right?
Yeah. Druish.
Druids.
Oh, you mean like druids? I got it.
Yeah. I was channeling some Spaceballs.
Yeah. Very nice. I'm Jewish. Anyway, we got a whole thing to do about Bubble Bobble today, and some of its spin-outs, some of its weird renaming here in the States, and some of that fun stuff. But mostly we're going to focus on Bubble Bobble proper and why it is such a landmark title and continues to this day to be one of my favorite arcade games. Straight up, period, one of my favorites. It's like in the top 5 probably. Infinitely replayable, never gets boring. We're going to talk about it. Although the theme song can get a little earwormy sometimes, you know.
It's a little, let's just say this week I went to bed singing the song, waking up singing the song, and singing a lot of the songs.
Very hard to ignore it. It's difficult. It's there in your face.
And I'll just say that back in the day, I never played more than 5 minutes of Bubble Bobble, the first 3 to 4 levels. And I was usually out because I did not understand a lot of the game mechanics. And maybe you're the same. If you're listening, maybe because I know Scott loves it.
Oh, I do love it. I'm a huge fan. And I'll play it wherever you have it. If it's in an arcade, I will put quarters in it. If it's at home, I'll play it there. I don't care. I always like it. It is somebody said in the chat, too bad for joist. You mean joust. And joust is still number 1. Don't get me wrong. Joust is right up there. Right. But honestly, it's funny they say that because
single stage.
They're a lot different. Well, no, they're a lot more the same than people think. And I don't mean exactly the same. I'm not jumping on top of other birds or whatever, but I'm doing this thing where I'm methodically saying these guys are crazy. I'm in a maze-like structure where I got to be careful about location. They're getting faster and meaner the more I clear. The level is changing on me as I move. When I kill them, it's very like, okay, blip, blip, and then I can maybe let them sit for a minute while I watch out for another guy who's trying to kill me. But eventually I'll get up there. If I don't hurry up, though, they're going to be enraged and get out of the bubbles and kill me. Yeah. Like there's a lot there that's shared.
A very, very Joust-like.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm drawn to whatever that is. Whatever that little particular package of
Joust juice.
Juiced Joust.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Before we do, let's talk about our retro weeks a little bit. I'm trying to get the MUOS, or is it just MUOS, or do they say MUOS?
I say MUOS, but I don't think anyone would call you out if you said the MUOS.
Got my card today, 256 gigabyte.
You almost said kilobyte. You've been in Retroland all week, and
That's
now
right.
you can't recall what size things are.
Yep, there's the little 64 gig it comes with, and here's the new one inside of a reader, which I then will plug into the thing and do it. I just haven't done it yet, but I am going to take the SP to the next proverbial level. I keep hearing that, everybody and their dog who makes something for the RG series is trying to update their stuff.
Yeah.
However, I keep hearing from multiple sources that MUOS is the bomb. So I'm going to do it.
Right.
That is what I'm going to do. I haven't done it yet. I got a video tutorial all queued up, ready to go. I'm going to do it after the show. Well, probably later tonight because I got to go to the zoo after the show. But when I'm done with the zoo, I'm going to come home and do this. And then tonight, I will be playing Bubble Bobble again on this in bed. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep.
Beep, bop, beep, bop, beep, bop.
Yeah.
So I got mine out as well.
Oh, look at us! Look at us!
My
Hold them up together.
RG35 double X. Yeah, the SP. So I got my SP out as well.
Mm-hmm.
I got Newly installed on mine, or Canuli, however you want to say it. All these things have their own little names and stuff. But most of them function on the emulation front end and the back end stuff. They call them firmwares most of the time, and it's pretty simple to do these. Usually, because all you do is you just download an image from your favorite project team. And you just burn it to a SD card, and usually just put it right in there. Maybe it might copy over your ROM files.
Yeah, ROMs.
I will say that this time around, I've been impressed by Ambernick. They moved away from their really, really crappy SD cards, but they failed very quickly, and they moved on to I don't know what brand this is.
I mean, the color of this brand is the exact same color as the Samsung ones. The really good Samsung devices, which is right here. It's exact same
64
color
gigabyte,
scheme.
and it's better. Yeah,
they did a good job. It's also faster. My read time on it is faster, which is cool.
Absolutely, yeah, they did it. They did a lot better job this time around. Still not totally satisfied with their ROM grouping, but I don't like their ROMs anyway. I got my own ROM sets that I prefer, and I keep it that way. ROM sets is what you're looking for, people. We get it every week. Hey, where do we get ROMs at? And it's like, we can't tell you where to get ROMs, but if you look for things that are like ROM sets, because there's a lot of things that if you look for a curated ROM set, if you look for that, you'll find what you're looking for most likely.
Yeah.
Because getting like this past week, I really went down a MAME hole.
You went down a MAME hole, did you?
I went down a MAME hole.
Okay.
And it was bad. I always forget because I'll stop emulating arcade games for a little while because I got my Mr. FPGA, and it's pretty solid on everything I got there. The cores are independent and everything. But anyway,
sure.
The problem with MAME stuff is there's always somebody trying to improve, make it better so that they can have it with whatever hardware they're using. And there's merge sets and non-merge sets, and you'll get those confused, and next thing you know, you'll try to launch a game and it'll say you're missing a bunch of crap. So here's my advice to you. Look for non-merged ROMs.
Okay.
Unless you're looking for an entire collection. And I'm just saying, if you want to find joy in your retro collection, I don't think having everything ever made for every system is going to bring you joy.
No.
I think cherry picking the things you like in a non-merged ROM set will bring you greater joy.
I agree.
It'll be the things you want to play.
I agree. You make your own. I mean, you can start there, but then just here's how I would do it. If you find a ROM set, let's say it's a GBA ROM set, which again is all ripped from the cartridges you own. Okay.
Right.
When you do that and you get them all, just get them in a folder. Don't even have them transferred yet. Just get them in a big folder, list them alphabetically, and go through it. Just go through it. It might be a lot of them. It's sometimes a bit of a hairy process. Hairy process. I love that.
Hairy process.
I'm hairy process. Anyway, you go through that list and you already know some stuff you're just never going to play. Like you're never going to play. If you never liked 7-Up or the 7-Up Spot game, whatever it is, then just delete those early. Get them out.
Yeah.
Chuck them.
Get them out of there.
Drag them out.
And lots
drop
of times,
them. Yeah.
Those sets are made for like huge collectors who are looking to have the de facto version, 3 different versions of the same game, just every way they want it, like Burger King. They want to be able to do it any way they want to. Only thing I usually concern myself with is first thing I do when there's a game that I want to play, I head over to retroachievements.org and I check to see which ones, because if you have to have the right ROM to work with the site. So I make sure the version I have is the version that everybody else has agreed is the one that you're going to use for the retro achievements, because I'm a Chivo head right now. I can't help it. I'm doing all the achievements I can. I got a whole bunch in Bubble Bobble this week.
Were you like this at all in regular achievements, like Xbox achievements or Steam or any of that?
No.
For
some reason, I never really, because I think I feel like I don't know what the difference is, but I feel like the Xbox, all those achievements, they always seem so flippant, because a lot of times I didn't know my favorite achievements are the ones that are cleverly worded and make me laugh. And on a lot of new games I was playing on, whatever system, I didn't get the inside jokes a lot of times whenever an achievement would come along. In the retro stuff, lots of times I already know what they are. It's like I get it when there's a Bubble Bobble joke when they're in the achievements. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. And so that makes me laugh and I feel accomplished.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna see what we end up with here. I wanted to get an update on the Micro Center of Atari flight stick business. How did that go for it? Because you cannot. Okay, that place dumped that shit. They were just like, we're making a cool thing. I hope you got one. We're out of here. Wash their hands of it.
So we're back about 2019, 2000. The Micro Center started working with Atari, and they made these console type joysticks with just a little cabinet thing with joysticks and buttons on top, and they would put a Raspberry Pi inside, and it came with an officially licensed Atari micro SD card, and it played a whole bunch of Atari games. You could plug that into HDMI. Well, the pandemic happened and everybody had a little extra home. They weren't spending their money on their vacations. They were buying this kind of stupid crap. And so they bought all these things, and they went all, by 2022, they were all gone, and Micro Center wasn't planning on really doing anything else with it. And so about 2022, no more support. And the problem is that this is back-ended by Raspberry Pi or Retro Pi in this case, and those things move forward. Things move forward along. And so I had some problems with my card, and I was like, hey, Micro Center, you got some place you can point me to get some help? And it's crickets. Crickets.
Nothing.
Crickets for other people. At first I was worried because I was like, oh no. And so then I looked, and I was like, no one's responded to any of these requests. Same request as mine for almost 2 years now. And I'm like, uh-oh. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And then last week we mentioned on the pre-show. And then like 2 days after that, they reached out to me. Only me on all the freaking forums and stuff. They answered my one question in the forum. Nobody else's, and said, hey, we're looking at it. And I'm like,
well, at least they're looking at it.
Somebody, right?
It's better than not looking at it.
I know, but it took, I don't know what happened, but so they're looking at it now. So we'll see how it all goes. I like Micro Center. I love Micro Center because of the stuff they sell. They've got my business.
We don't have them here. Never have.
I love it.
I don't know why we've never had them here, but we don't have a Micro Center of any kind.
That's too bad. I
wonder why that is. What do you think's going on there with Micro Center? Well, why the
I'll tell you. Well, usually it's because starts in one location. You start having success, and so you branch out and you stay local up until a point. Sure. And then you go nationwide. So, I think they're still just kind of here. They're kind of like filling that spot. So what happened was the West Coast started creeping over this way with Fry's Electronics.
Yeah.
And then that all kind of contracted back. And at the same time, Micro Center was coming up, and they're kind of pushing back across the country from what I can tell. We got another one up in North Carolina. Yeah, we just never had them. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah. I'm happy. The Fry's is leaving a gap.
Yeah.
For that. So
yeah.
A fry gap.
So a fry gap. I like that. Write that one down. That's awesome.
Right.
All right. Well, enough of that. Time for the main topic.
Shall we play a game?
Oh, shall we? I think we shall, you guys. For real. We're going to talk about Bubble Bobble. And man, I was so happy to be playing this week. I don't know what it is that I feel like why I needed it so bad. And I think I talked about this. Let me see if I can pull up the name. There's a brand new game on Steam that I ended up with that I recommended a couple of weeks ago. And here it is. It is in many ways, the spiritual successor to all things Bubble Bobble. It's a game called Slam and Roll, and it's available on Steam. Slam and Roll is awesome, and it's basically you're this kid with a you start with it and you can unlock other characters, but you're this kid with a hockey stick, eventually baseball bat, there's a tennis girl. You unlock these characters. They all do sort of the same thing though, but their goal is to jump around on these levels just like you would in Bubble Bobble and to smack the hockey pucks into the enemies until the enemy becomes a big spinning wheel or a ball or whatever, whatever it is that your tool is, and then you smack it, and then it rolls through and knocks out other ones. So you can do these great combos, and then they leave fruit and shit, just like Bubble Bobble does when they die. And it's really it's like more 16-bit than anything, but it's a really great representation of what made Bubble Bobble so great. So I just want to put it out there that if you're looking for something today that's decently priced, I think this is it's under $10, $9.89 right now on Steam. 100% worth getting that. It's so good on 100%. Steam Deck. Cannot recommend it enough. But we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about the one that started it all and sounded a bit like this. This is the song I used to.
You like that song, do you? Well, good, because here comes about 8 hours of it.
Yeah, they don't change it up much. There's the what do you call those levels?
Boss level? No, that's not till later.
Bonus levels, sorry.
Oh, the bonus levels, yes.
Bonus levels, they change it up a little bit. For the most part, though, this music is all like this. Which reminds me of that song that goes, and then I went to the store now, do. You know what I'm talking about? What is that song?
Yes, that's the good question. So this is a common theme throughout the Bubble Bobble series. Take something that is familiar and tweak it just a little bit. Do a little Vanilla Ice, Under Pressure. Ice, baby.
Yeah.
I didn't go dun 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 dun. I went dun 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 like that, and it's different, right? And so same here. Composer Kimajima. I think that's how you say it.
Kimajima.
Tadashi Kimajima.
To die for. I have no idea.
Made a real banger here because it's just good enough to not infuriate you. Like, it reminds me a lot of It's a Small World. It's kind of got that little plunky noise to it, but it's not that. And, A Small World can drive you crazy, but this is it's enjoyable, but it doesn't get too annoying.
No, I think it's one of those songs where you're kind of sick of it when you're playing it, but when you hear it later, you get nostalgic for it. And that's a weird combination. That's a strange thing for a game to be, but somehow it succeeds at doing that. Bubble Bobble is amazing. The original came out in 1986, and we talked about Bub and Bob and all that. But here's the thing: 100 levels in this game, huge, not random. I wish it was. I like procedural stuff. Some people don't.
Right.
Like it. I think maybe the new one that's on Steam will do that. They do have a new game. It's $40 though. It's a little pricey.
Is that 4? Is that the fourth one from 2019?
Yeah, it's the one that 2021, I think. It's one where they you can do co-op and some kind of competitive modes, and it's like a whole.
Next month there's a new one coming out too. You know that, right?
Is there? No, I didn't know that.
Well, not Bubble Bobble. Well, it is Bubble Bobble. So this is one of the things I got confused on this week. I spent a lot of time trying to disseminate what the hell the Bubble Bobble series was, because there's also Parasol Stars, which is basically Bubble Bobble 3. And there's a new one coming out to consoles on July the 11th. Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Parasol Stars, the story of Bubble Bobble 3.
Right.
Oh, okay. And this is, you're right. PlayStation Store, eShop, PC. I mean, I'll probably play this.
Oh, I'll definitely play this. I gotta have it. It's gonna be on the PS5, right? I think so. And I'm pretty stoked. It is hitting just right in time. Now they didn't do it because we did this, right?
No.
I don't think that's how it happened, right?
No, I don't think so. As far as I know.
Yeah, development cycle's longer than that, right?
It's coming to PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, and all the series consoles. So that's cool.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, that'll be good. But the concept of it is fine. All the stuff I mentioned so far is fine, but I did want to get this out of the way early, or at least talk about it. What makes the game great for me, I think, in the same way Joust is my favorite arcade game of all time, there is an aspect of this game that involves some really great feeling physics, not necessarily realistic physics, okay? I'm not claiming that, but there is the jumping and how far you can jump and how he feels, like how weighty he feels when he lands, in the same way that Joust feels good when I pump the wings a couple times and then kind of feel the drop and then pump the wings a few times and watch him drop again. There's something about the heft of these 8-bit characters that captured me back then and still does. And this game is very good at that. So you might say to yourself, well, there's a million games where you go through a maze-like structure and kill shit and you just play Pac-Man. You know what I mean? I can hear people saying that sort of thing. But there was something in this about the way he hopped and jumped. It's also why I like the original Super Mario Brothers game where it's just the pipes and stuff. What was that called?
Right.
I guess it was just called Super Mario Brothers, right?
Right. Yes.
Or just Mario Brothers. Whatever.
Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
not Super.
Yeah, not Super.
It wasn't Super yet.
Yeah, great thing about all the GBA games that they made, remakes of like Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, 3, and World, was that they added a play mode that was basically a 16-bitified version of that original game, and those still hold the hell up. They're real good.
Nice.
I play them every time I open those games. But anyway, that's what I love about it, dude. It just feels good. Feels good.
The gravity, the gravity is interesting. At first, it was a little bit off-putting to me. So this is at the arcade. You have a two-way directional joystick. It just goes left and right. And you got a jump button and a bubble button.
Yep.
Bubble button.
Bubble button.
And so you got, and so when I first started playing this, I was trying to play it one way, which was avoid the holes in the floor, because it's a vertical game, it's screen by screen, and you're going to be jumping up on platforms. And every time you jump on a platform, since there is no down, essentially, you have to walk off. If you walk off, you float down, kind of. You're a bubble dragon, so you're not really heavy, I'm assuming, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you kind of float down. What I did not realize was, like Pac-Man, it's almost like a screen turned sideways. Pac-Man, you leave out the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and you appear back on the other side. That's how this game works. I thought it was death. So I was like, oh no. But it's part of the strategy. The part of the strategy is, I need to get up to the top very quickly, but it's kind of a slow jump progress to get up to the top.
Yeah.
And maybe it's faster to fall down through the floor. So there's a lot of strategy going on here. And I watched a couple of videos on YouTube, and some of these people are really smart, and it broke down some of the game and how it actually works. It is all based around a lot of statistics. This game is a statics wonder, stats wonder. So it's the more bubbles you blow, the more power pickups that show up, which is good because you're going to need that later on. The more steps you take also has an influence on that kind of stuff. So if you get all that, so instead of going like a Mario game where you would, find some hidden warps and that kind of stuff, here you would try to blow as many bubbles as possible, move as much as possible, so that you would get the parasol would show up, and you could grab that, and you could pass through so many levels, like I think 5 or 6 levels. You could just jump, right? You just jump to the next area.
Yeah.
And so once I understood that, the game completely changed for me, because like I said, back in the day, I was like, oh, what is this super stupid? It's bright and colorful, such a kid's game. It's got this little music going on. The first 3 levels really are really accessible for anybody to play. It's not hard. And I was like, oh, this is dumb. This is a really easy game. And I'm just going to go level to level. Only died because of just bad luck or something. But this has a really good difficulty curve because it is storing all those stats, and it really adapts to the player. And I think this may be the earliest that I really noticed this complexity of game design for gameplay. At the arcade, it really blew my mind this week,
especially for this early in the game. Like this, we're talking about mid 80s. I think, competitively speaking, there weren't a lot of games that offered any of what you just described. That kind of depth was unusual. It's also, the game didn't feel like I was getting cheated and pushed into just spending quarters and banging my head against the wall. The difficulty
even
ramps
though it
up.
was, but it didn't make you feel like it.
No, the difficulty ramped up, no question. You want that to some degree, right? You want the challenge, but I felt like I could get real far on a quarter if I just paid attention and wasn't forgetting how to play. And I love that.
You were rewarded. You were rewarded for taking risk. So you could choose to play it slowly and only finish the first 4 or 5 levels at your own pace, but you're still going to be timed out at however many seconds, 90 seconds or whatever they had determined beforehand. Or you could play really fast and get further and feel like you did something, like you accomplished something. Still, it's getting you off after that minute and a half. So like I said, the design stuff that was going on in the background, MTJ was our designer. Fukio Mitsuji, I believe is his name. I watched some interviews with him. How, you may ask, how about the Taito Legends disc for the PS2?
That's the
I loaded
one,
that
dude.
up.
Yeah,
They've got some. They've got some. They got Bubble Bobble and a couple other games on there as well. But they have interviews with the developers, and I really enjoyed watching him talk about some of the ideology behind how they made this game, Bubble Bobble, and it's so much more than I ever gave it credit for.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'm glad you
way
pushed
more.
me into doing this.
Yeah, no, I'm glad too, because I mean, my memories of it are just so strong. Here's the thing, though. This was a bit of a bummer in my family's history of running arcades, because this game came out right as the crash, or a year after the crash had started, and that's a weird time to have an arcade game come out and be successful, because a lot of them were coming out and tanking, and arcades are being shut down left and right. It's like a really weird time. And I remember being really sad because it was at that stage we weren't buying new stuff. We were trying to offload what we had so that we could make room for something new, and we couldn't afford any Bubble Bobbles, either the boards, the licensing, or even just straight up full arcade box. We just couldn't do
maybe
it.
if you cut your hair and sold it, you could have those lovely locks that you had during that time.
Oh, I had, dude. People don't even know. I had the most epic freaking mullet of all time.
Mullet, I guarantee you had a mullet, and so this was a Taito's challenge that to win, because they had not had too many successes recently by this point in time. And so,
or even after, this is still their I mean, it became their cash cow
at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, at this point, absolutely. And so, the designer MTJ was like, they were exploring different things. Now in Japan, there was still a strong market. In America, we was having a real big crash. But in Japan, they were looking at trying to tap into more. So they a lot of guys were already at the arcade, and they were trying to get women in the arcade. So were they coming up with these cuter games because they thought that's what would bring them in. And he thought even one step further. He said, well, what if I brought in couples? So this game rewards you for playing multiplayer. So if you have someone come in, and by the way, I love this about the arcade, I didn't realize this. When you go up to an arcade machine, you got 1-player, 2-player buttons, and it's usually like a little man, it's with 1 and then 2 on the other button, but here it's got, literally it says Bub and Bob. So you know exactly what you're going to play. You're not going to get a chance to choose if you get on the left-hand side, like the Turtles games and those kind of things.
Yeah.
You walk up to the area and the station that you want to play, and you pick Bub or Bob, and hopefully you get your friend or your girlfriend, because that's what the story's about, right?
Sure.
Save the girlfriend.
You got to save the girlfriend. Yeah, it's not about a princess or some weird, honor thing like that. No. It's straight up just the girl you're dating. You want her back.
No, it's all about a monster. It's all about Super Drunk, the monster who comes into your lives, steals your girlfriend, and then turns you into a dragon, because you're supposed to be just a kid up until that point. And then he turns you into a dragon that blows bubbles, and you got to fight your way down. And whenever you complete whatever you're doing, it shows you how far you made it down to the pits of the monster.
Right.
And weirdest ass story on a lot of these games.
No, it's weird as hell. There's nothing about it that's normal. It's freaking funky.
Love it.
But I love it. I love actually, you know what?
Japan.
The weirder, the better, I say.
Yeah.
Now, the NES version was called Bubble Bobble Part 2, and that thing came out, and I bought it immediately back in the day. This would have been 93, I guess, much later. I bought it, and I played. I'm looking at it now. This video is so nostalgic for me, and I'll tell you what, the NES game is extremely good. It's very good.
Oh, and there was a really interesting story behind this too. The original there was an NES port from the arcade earlier, but yeah, you're right. This is 93. It took Nintendo that long to really work with Taito and go, okay, you know what? We need a sequel. And Taito's like, we got one, and it was like, no, we want to make one, because Nintendo did this. They would work with a partner, and they would like continue a story. So instead of getting Rainbow Islands, which is where Taito was going with theirs, they went with Bubble Bobble 2, which was a continuation of Bub and Bob, but not really.
No.
Because it's supposed to be in some documents that I read, it was Cubby and Rubby. I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
I don't like that.
No, Cubby and Rubby can F off. I don't like
Couple,
it.
Is it Cubble Rubby? Cubby Rubble?
I'm going to have to take your word for it. I do not know.
But I didn't care for it. But this time, instead of stealing your girlfriends, they stole your friends. So I guess they went ahead and admitted it's like, okay, I guess some guys are going to be playing this on their couch. So let's co-op. Let's get this 2-player game on.
Let's get this going. Yeah.
Let's get this going.
So this is the one I probably, if I'm talking about hours spent, and I don't mean this week, but back in the day, it's probably this one, this NES game. And
yeah. It was solid.
I think part of it is they did a great job of mixing it up so that the levels didn't feel the same as the arcade game. It was a lot more like, I don't know, home friendly. Like I'm playing the long game here. I'm not putting quarters into a machine. I can really take my time in making groups and trying to do combos and all that sort of shiz. And the game was very good at that, and I love it for that.
I think so. This brought Nintendo sensibility to Taito insanity, because I really love the original at the arcade, but those level designs reminded me of a time when you would have, a very small team developing games. So you would have a program, you have a designer who would design everything out. Then you have a programmer, sometimes the same person's designer. And then you'd have somebody who would work on the music. And then you'd have like in-house graphics or whatever. And then if you had to really get some variety in level design, you would go to all the staff, secretary, everybody, and you go, here's some graph paper, draw out some stuff. It really felt like on that first one, this is not facts. This is Brian making up stuff. Yeah. It felt like the original levels, because they would spell out words and stuff on the screen for the levels, not really focusing on necessarily, smart, logical platforming. It was more like, wouldn't it be weird if we spelled out bubble or we spelled out ice cream on the screen?
Sure.
Just it felt like that. But here, like you said, Nintendo brought their sensibilities here, and it feels very platformy, and I really dug that a lot.
Did you play there's a Game Boy Advance game called Bubble Bobble Old and New?
I did play that. That was one of the first ones I did, because it was supposed to have one of the most accurate arcade perfect copies of the original.
So I couldn't
arcade.
So I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh, I got it.
Do you have it? All right, I may have to.
I have that.
I may have to legally extract it from my GBA cartridge, aka talk to you. I need that one, because I love the GBA whole thing. You know how I love the GBA.
It was really good. As a matter of fact, here, let me pull this up now. Let's see here. I'll switch my screens over to here. There it is. All right, so this is my Batacera here. So here we go. We're going to look over my ROMs here, and we got our Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
And as you can tell, I have the Bubble Bobble Old and New.
Yeah, I got to get that. That's the one I want. I want that.
I'm missing some BIOS files. Oh, no. But it's
still right. Yeah, it's still working.
Oh, it's fine. It's still going to play. It might be a little laggy, but I played this on the SP is how I played it, because that's the most appropriate place to play it.
Yeah, I'm ready for this in my life. I need this right now.
I'll send it to you after the show, so that we both can have copies, because we both have physical copies of this.
Yeah, we both have physical copies, and all you're doing is saving me the time from the transfer that I would have to do on my own physical copy, which I just don't have time to do it. So
correct.
Yeah,
that is correct, sir.
Awesome. Anyway, that's a really cool version of the game. It was well received. People liked it. The Bubble Bobble Junior game, however, on the Game Boy. Game Boy, not even color. Right. I didn't like this one so much. I thought it was all right, but it ain't my favorite.
Now it's the same as it is the exact same for the most part, except it's been Game Boyified. Is the Bubble Bobble Part 2? If you're listening to this show, you may listen to this show and go, "Oh, I'm gonna go check out Bubble Bobble Part 2." You got to be very specific. Bubble Bobble gets very confusing with their naming.
Their naming is very weird. Yeah.
As crazy as this. Bubble Bobble Jr. for the Game Boy is actually the Japanese title. It's known as Bubble Bobble Part 2 in the US, because why the hell not? And it's pretty much the same, but the sprites are different sizes. And instead of having like in the NES version, if you blew a bubble and you capture one of the baddies, it literally does sprite scaling. And so the bad guy is floating around inside the bubble. Sprite scaling not going to happen to that degree on a Game Boy. And so instead it's got you turns into a bubble. It's a little smiley. It's a little weird looking emoji looking thing. And I kind of liked it. And you can't do full stages like we have a full screen to screen like you'd have in the NES version. You can't do that on a Game Boy because there's just not enough real estate. And so you have scrolling.
This was my main beef. This is my main beef. I do not like the scrolling. Scrolling's a little choppy anyway. It's like low frame rate. I didn't like that feeling.
Yeah.
The physics are off. You're too floaty. When you fall, it takes forever. It doesn't have the meaty, like I say, like those whatever physics those are. They're not there in this version, and it's just glitchy and sprite flicker. I don't know.
If you're looking for a handheld version that you don't want to, but you want to stay in the 8-bit era. If you go back and play the Game Gear version of Bubble Bobble, it is supreme. There is scrolling, but the physics of it are really well. There's not a lot of flashing. There can be if you get enough things on screen. It's pretty amazing what they did with the Game Gear version. But it was a support of the Sega Master System version, which is an excellent version. If you're looking for a console-based version of Bubble Bobble, that ROM and game is pretty tight. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, look at this. You know what? I forgot the Game Gear would even be an option this time around.
Like I said, everybody had a port. Amiga had a port. Commodore 64, the Atari ST, the ZS Spectrum, the Microsoft MXSX Ecstasy. Everybody had one.
Yeah. The bummer is none of the 16-bit consoles had anything really other than the puzzle games. They had a lot of those, the Puzzle Bobble stuff.
By the time I got to Bust a Move, Puzzle Bobble, that was.
And I like Puzzle. Don't get me wrong. I love Puzzle Bobble. I love Bust a Move. The name they gave it here in the States, totally stupid. But I loved it. The games are amazing. My first game I bought with my Saturn, funny enough, was Bust a Move 2 or whatever the hell it's called. And I loved those games. But what I really wanted was like a sprited up ass, modern take on this, and we didn't get it.
Yeah.
We didn't get
Genesis was still doing Sega was still doing has always done amazing fast sprite renders on their Sega Master System as well as the Genesis, and even all the way up to this. They always did it so well. Not a lot of flashing. They did a great job on their port. Now I just saw a few seconds ago something that's an interesting mechanic in this game throughout, and it is when you're fighting the bad guys, there's different little cutesy characters. There's like little wind up looking robots, and there's these floaty whale things.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they're called, like blubbers or something. I don't know. Anyway, there's Varum von Blubberpants. I can't remember his name either, but he's the hurry up mechanic. He's like a dead whale that shows up if you don't go fast enough. And that was really important in the arcade to get your ass out of there. So he would show up, it would say hurry, and then that floating weirdo would show up, and you can't kill him. You just got to run from him. You got to finish your job of bubble bobbing while he's chasing you around slowly around the screen.
Yeah, you got to finish
like
up
some kind of specter.
Finish up your bubble bobbing.
He's the Otto of this game. So like, instead of Berserk, he's this Otto that chases you. It's like, okay, you got to hurry up, man. You got to crap or get off the pot.
Yeah, get the F out. I'm really glad you said the Game Gear version. I'm going to grab this today because this looks great.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I'm going to have a really good time with it. Yeah.
Now, was your game theory when playing this? When you were playing, are you kind of clear the stage as quick as possible, or are you like strategizing, kind of going, I'm gonna jump on this platform, then I'm gonna shoot that guy, and then I'm gonna
a little bit of both.
Over here.
It depended. Sometimes I was very much interested in, let's see if I can get them all in one swoop. And that's good scoring. You get great scoring for that.
Oh yeah, the chains and stuff, the chain combos and stuff.
That stuff felt pretty good. But there are times where it's just too much. So I'm like, kill them as I get them. I don't care. And I don't think there's any real, way anyone should play. I think it's cool the game supports kind of that fun way of playing of like, here's a bunch of combos, and I can't believe I killed them all in one big giant jump or whatever. That's a fun thing. But my jam is a little bit more like, how do I whip through? Kind of like Pac-Man. I don't
Yeah.
I was never good at the Pac-Man patterns.
Right.
Like a lot of people were. I knew a little, but I didn't know enough where that was the predominant way I played. So I didn't really do that here either. I wasn't memorizing stuff or anything like that.
Right. I didn't memorize stuff either. I just kind of, MTJ is he didn't design games much after he did these. He felt like he peaked, and and from interviews it sounds like he's like, oh yeah, everybody has a good game in him or whatever. He didn't say that, but that's what I was picking up on him.
Yeah.
And so now he back in 2005 on that interview, he was like training new people to make game design. He is just such a great, smart game designer. I would have been interested to see where else he could have went, but he wants to teach. And but popping bubbles, man, is there anything more applicable to human enjoyment than popping bubbles?
I mean, it's pretty good.
Whether it's the packing bubbles or if it's blowing bubbles and then popping them, it's in our nature.
Yeah, no, we like it. And just eliminating it really taps into my whole eliminate shit on the screen. You basically have a checkbox. What is the checkbox in this case? A bunch of robots or little slimes or whatever the hell they are. Get them all, get them done, get to the next thing. Ooh, it's different now. There are more of them. Like, I don't know what it is. It's a very specific thing. I feel this way about, again, Joust is always on that list. I feel that way about modern open world games. Like, I've got a big open, I play Assassin's Creed or something. I'm like, all right, we got a big map. It's full of stuff. I'm going to get it all. Like, there's something about that in gaming where me and that particular dopamine rush are good. We're good buddies. We're best pals.
It's a really good combination of gameplay mechanics, though, between the platforming and the popping the bubbles and the collecting of the fruit. And it's really just simple, but complex at the same time. And man, like I said, going into Bobble, I didn't show you, but on the inside, I was kicking and screaming going, I don't want to play this stupid kids game. I don't want to be. And by the time I was done this week, mad respect for the Bobble series.
I mean, how can you not, right?
How can you not? I loved it. And one of the things that I did not realize, because there's so many things that you don't realize. There's a lot of hidden things. Even the gameplay mechanics can kind of be hidden a little bit, even though if you read the manual, Brian, you would know them. Like the NES version of Bobble 2.
Yeah.
I knew that you could charge them up, so you can shoot bubbles like normal, or if you hold it down, he'll start taking in a deep breath and he'll blow multiple bubbles at the same time further. And so it helps you if you have the time to collect more enemies that way. But there's also a point where if you hold it long enough, even after he stops breathing in, and you wait just a little bit longer, he'll start floating. He'll start floating up. Yeah. And I was like, oh crap, this changes everything, because now I can hold my charge. And I can float up to the next level, because that's what I was having trouble doing, was holding my charge and jumping. But now I can float to the next level. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this game just keeps giving me new things.
Yeah. It wants you. It loves you. It wants you to,
it loves me.
It wants to give you it wants to kiss you on the
it wants to rescue me from the monster dungeon, from my shackles of shame.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it, and I'm in support of it doing that, and you accepting it as a true man would. Let's talk about the follow-up in the arcade, because it was not called what you think. It was called, you'd think it'd be called Bobble 2, but this, again, the naming convention, as you pointed out, is all over the map. It's so weird. But in '94, they released an arcade game called Bubble Symphony. And Bubble Symphony, which I thought I had up, I don't. I'll do that real quick, was the true successor of the arcade experience anyway. And I have mixed feelings about this one. I think it's good. I think it's actually really good, but I think that it is too reliant on weird boss fights. That was my only complaint. And there's boss fights in all these games to some degree. But this one just felt like it was trying to cram that down my throat, and that's fine. I guess that's part of the experience. But it's good. It's all right. Did you play much Bubble Symphony?
I actually ended up getting hung up on this one a little bit, playing it more than I should have, because it has micro nostalgia in it. So there's there's a mini game of trying to figure out what Taito property they based the stage level on, and I got hung up on the Space Invaders area that I loved like crazy. And so, yeah, you can choose this time around. We're Bub, Bob, and apparently we've got the girlfriends. Now we're all Bubble Dragons.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, super drunk. Why don't you go get more super drunk? But you can choose to play. You can play as one of these characters. You just choose which one you want, and they all have their own stats. Of course, I'm always picking Bub because that's who I'm used to. Sometimes Bob, but I started picking the other characters as well, the girlfriends, and what are their names? Bubbleina? No, that's not right.
It's not
I wrote them down
Bubbleina,
so I wouldn't
is it?
forget them.
I hope it's
No,
not
it's
Bubbleina.
not. It's not that. It's not that. What was it? I can't remember. Anyway, they had some really cute names, but it was very Japanese names that I can't recall off the top of it. Anyway, so man, Kululun and Kororon.
I mean,
It was
sure.
I butchered those. I butchered those.
I don't know.
But you're right about the boss fights. They're asinine, and I love hate them. And also the level design gets a little cramped. So they started adding a lot of platforms in some of these later levels, and you quickly discover that 2-way directional jump and fall thing suddenly becomes a bit of a maze on its own to try to figure out how you get to each of the characters, the enemies, without getting yourself killed.
Right.
And so the difficulty curve is not as elegant as the earlier versions. But I do like the Symphony thing. You can power up. So instead of just having your pickups and your power ups, now you got this thing where you pick up musical notes, and you can chain react things, and you've got elementals like fire, water, and lightning. Where most of the time, fire made me die more than the enemies.
Oh yeah.
And they brought in some of the Rainbow Island stuff. If you played some of that stuff, you would see that they brought the rainbows in on this one. So you would initiate picking up a potion that would allow you to blow bubbles with rainbows or whatever in it, tornadoes, whatever, and you break them, and then those would go all over this.
Well, let me ask you a question. One of the things we just saw here, and it reminded me to mention it. One of the things the game does is it puts up portals when you finish a level.
Yes.
And it lets you choose your next place you want to go.
Branching paths.
But it doesn't really, you don't know where you're going. It's not like you've chosen, I'll take this path because I know where that's going to go. It's kind of random, right?
No. Well, it's not random. It's a path. You get that path every time. Like if you pick the middle door, you'll get that same path every time. But it's branching paths.
All right. I thought it was some kind of random. I was always afraid what to choose. So I just chose whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making me want to play this one more.
It's actually pretty complex, and
the boss fights though. The boss fights are just horrible.
The boss fights are I don't like them, and you remember how we talked about? Remember how we started this show? Where it was praising Bubble Bobble for making you feel like you weren't being cheated.
Yeah.
This one makes you feel like this game is cheating. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
There's like a couple of boss fights where I'm like, they had me trapped in a corner, and no matter what I would do, I'm like, if I was at the arcade pumping quarters in this thing, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Because it's just so unfair in these boss fights. So I don't know what happened.
It does seem. I agree with you. It seems a little. What's the word I'm looking for? It's unfair. That's the right word.
It's unfair. It's unfair.
Yeah, you said
Why
it.
would you do this?
You said it right the first time. It's fun though. That's a fun game, and I wish they had more ports that went to consoles. That is purely an arcade port, and play it as you.
Yeah,
will.
this was what 96 by the time. Where was it? 94 by the time we got there. So it was a different time. Most of us were playing like Mortal Kombat, and these kind of games were maybe not in most of our wheelhouses. I'm not saying they weren't. I'm just saying
they were just starting to wane a little.
Usually it wasn't a line to these games.
Yeah, I think it was starting to wane. You were starting to see things like big sprite games or games that are even little early 3D stuff. Maybe not quite in the late 80s, but you were entering a phase of fighting games, and
it was definitely fighting game time for me.
Yeah, like all that stuff was about to change kind of the landscape of all of that. I was going to check real quick and see if these Ambernicks ship with this version of the game. I can't remember where I played it. I think I played it on my other one, my other Ambernick. I got it. This is the problem I'm having right now. I got these two devices. They're both great. And I forget which one I played what on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, where's my save? Oh, right. It's on the other console that I didn't play. All right. So, for example, we got, let's see. I'm just going to check this out. It would be under MAME, wouldn't it? Let's see.
For this one, it would be either FB Neo. So they usually loaded up as either arcade, FB Neo or MAME, I think is how Amber Nick was sorting them out.
Oh, right. Okay, I think you're right. And I think I found it. Here it is. Bubble Bobble. Not story. Where's Symphony?
It is. So, yeah. So it's Bubble Bobble 2, the story. Or is it? So it's Bubble Bobble.
In Japan, though, it's different, right?
Right. So it's Bubble Bobble 2, the story of Bubble Bobble. Is that right? I think that's how it's listed.
Oh, jeez.
I told you, man.
Well, I'm gonna run
Man.
it. Let me see what happens because this is
wait
probably it.
till you, if you're out there, wait till you have somebody trying to find the darn MAME files, because they all keep those truncated down to like 6 to 8 characters or something, so they have to like it's all of them are listed as like Bub Sim or something like that, so it gets so complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on here. Oh,
but if you can find Bubble Symphony from 1994 arcade, it's not bad. It's not bad.
What is the difference between? Oh, all right. Well, I have one on here that's labeled Bubble Bobble something story Rainbow 2, but it's actually
2. That's how that goes. So 2 is that's Rainbow. So that's not this one. That's when they turn back to human and you start playing with the rainbows and stuff. We're not going to cover that this time around. We're going to save those for later.
Found it.
So there you go. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this one's called Bubble Bobble 2. They don't even bother with the other parts of the name.
Yeah,
the
but not
stuff.
the NES Bubble Bobble. This is arcade. Bubble
Yeah,
Bobble
this is the other. That's the thing. There's an arcade Bubble Bobble 2, an NES Bubble Bobble 2, and then there's us saying Bubble Bobble way too much. You know?
It's hard to say after a while.
Yeah.
It really gets difficult.
Yeah, it's weird.
Bubble
All right,
Bobble.
I'm gonna have to play that later. Whoops, let me not have this playing the whole time.
Next up is the one that nobody played unless you were drunk at a barcade.
Let's talk about that. It's a game called Bubble Memories, the story of Bubble Bobble 3.
Right.
It came out in 96, and this is a weird one. Let me pull that up.
And this is the story of Bubble Bobble 3, but then they had Bubble Bobble Parasol Stars, which was also subtitled The Story of Bubble Bobble 3.
Right.
This is Bubble Memories.
This is Bubble Memories, and it came out at a time where I think I was probably over all of this. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sitting around going, boy, I can't wait for whatever's next for Bubble Bobble. By this point, I had a little baby.
Yeah.
Like, I was starting to adult a little bit, and I think I just had fallen off. Although
this was seriously into the PlayStation era, right? I mean, you were at home.
96, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had your PlayStation.
Yeah, we were into a whole new era of gaming. I was playing, N64, PlayStation. We were in a new time. This to me felt like 100 years ago at the time, which would have been the same year, but it would have felt weird. And I was kind of had this attitude like, I'm not playing some old dumb arcade game. These are dumb. Yeah, why would I play this? Why wouldn't I play?
We're gonna do Bubble and Bobble. That's dumb.
It is dumb. Until they called it Bust a Move, and then I was like, yeah Bust a Move. Can't believe they did that. Like, has there ever been a classic series that had such dumb name treatment? Like, I think this is the ultimate.
That is a big play field. We'll have to have a big conversation about that one,
because I think this is it. I think this series is probably it. Anyway, this game's got like this super bubble mechanic. I watched some video, didn't play it, but you have to hold down the bubble button, and players can create a larger bubble that can capture multiple enemies inside of the thing.
Yes.
And if you jump on it, you can jump higher. So they're trying to add some stuff here. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not fine. Let me tell you why.
All right.
The game mechanics are fine. I'm okay with that. Like the intro animation stuff, pretty cool. But this thing smelt of barcade. And there's nothing wrong with barcades. So, when you focus more on about, the countertop type arcade machines where, some of them may have nudity, like that 90s nudity too, like the
90s nudity.
You know what I'm talking about?
No,
that pixelated,
I don't. Tell me.
That pixelated, compressed, dot matrixy looking adult illustrated porn crap.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looked like that. So instead of these elaborate, beautiful backgrounds, animated backgrounds we had gotten in Bubble Symphony.
Yeah.
We had this great rendition. We had like Space Invaders on CRT screens in the background on Symphony.
Mhm.
On this one, we get these low res versions of elephants. Just like took a bunch of stock photos and pixelated the shit out of them and used that as the backgrounds. The
Yeah.
game is okay. The mechanics are okay, using the big bubble thing and everything, but I couldn't do it because Hyper Drunk apparently was super drunk at the barcade and decided this would be a good idea. Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of games.
I
at the
remember
barcades
they were
that had
trying
this kind of
to
stuff.
grow forward with arcade kids of old days, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
this was their attempt to, I don't know, do that. And I agree. It was a weird thing. It was like hunting games and naked people.
Did you find game footage of this?
No, I'm trying to, but I can't find
hold on a
anything.
second.
Do you have a
Let me see
link?
let me see. No, I got it on my machine here.
All
Let me
right.
make sure I've got it.
If you have it
pulled up
handy,
here.
pull that up because
Yeah,
I'd like
let
to
me-
see it. This is the stuff. Part of what ruined my dad's business is this stuff just got weird.
Right. Ah, shoot. Hold on a second. I think I actually turned the machine off. Oh, it's coming up now. All right.
Damn it! I just want to play more Bubble Bobble. What is wrong with me?
Bubble, bubble.
I usually, you know how I am with these things. Some games
Oh,
grab me and
absolutely.
hold me for weeks, and you know what got me there was Advance Wars 1 and 2 did that.
Right.
This is doing that. Joust did that. Like
Yeah.
I am in the mood for this shit right now.
I can't get out of it. I don't know what I'm going to do because I've got so many things now lined up that it's going to be. I thought my backlog was already large enough.
Yeah, I
It's
already
like,
have
what
I
am
have
I
a
gonna
big
do?
enough backlog with new games. I'm trying to play this damn Elden Ring DLC if I can never get to it. And,
Right.
how am I going to do that? Well, I want to play more Bubble Bobble for shit's
Here
sakes.
comes these bubble memories. All right, here we go.
All right, here we
Here we
go.
go. Some bubble memories.
Let's see
All
what
right.
we got.
Oh, we gotta wait. We gotta wait a moment. This is always how all
1.
these games were for a while. They had to like load up something.
Yeah, weird, right? Like a little ROM test
Yeah.
that they didn't tell you
Yeah, a
about.
little ROM test. Yep. All right, got that guy.
Taito.
All right, Taito, and it is Taito, not Taito, right?
Yeah.
I've heard a few people say. I've heard a few people that I had to turn off on YouTube because it said Taito, and I'm
Well,
like,
the
no.
only reason I know it is you
Nope.
hear them say it in Puzzle Bobble or Bust a Move. They go Taito.
Taito. Yeah.
So I always assume that's it.
I was like turning it. Nope, can't do it. I can't have you. All right, here we go. All right,
all right. So
did we
do
not get in this? All right, here's the
game
the story
mode.
game.
Here we go.
Oh my god, good luck.
Check.
These all start off the same way. All right,
Yeah.
so there you go. So we got your big baddie
your
who
big
shows
bad
up
guy.
at the top.
Yeah, big bat
Yeah.
with a
And then-
penis.
And then there you go. You see the barcade elephants making
Yep.
out back there.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 elephants. They're locking horns.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. I was
Here
gonna.
goes some more. They're still here.
They're
Two
still
more
here,
big.
but that's the
two more
thing.
big elephants.
These things were tweakable, so you could
Yeah.
put back there whatever you wanted. Kind of like imagine your desktop wallpaper or something. It was like that,
Right.
And yeah, you could put up the nudies at the bar there,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or whatever you wanted. You could have Nazi imagery. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's what your bar does. Is yeah,
Perhaps you're a bit of a Nazi,
a Nazi bar.
Nazi scrazzy. Now these are all elephants. That's amazing, dude.
I don't know why they're all elephants.
I
I'm
don't
trying
either.
to figure out because I'm like, I thought they changed, but they definitely changed later. But the first 3 levels have all been. So I think it's supposed to be visiting worlds. So that's kind of the whole idea. So once you get to Symphony and Memories,
Mhm.
you're supposed to be visiting worlds.
Yeah.
And so I guess this is Elephant World
Mm.
they're visiting. So yeah, they got lost along the way. How's that? Somebody
fine.
on the design team was trying to build on what was already there, and they got lost.
That's totally
that's
fine.
okay.
It's all fine.
Yeah.
A
fine.
couple other points. You mentioned all the ports and stuff, but we haven't really talked too much about the Bust a Move thing. So what that was is like a spin out. In the time of
Yeah.
very successful games like Tetris and other puzzle games, these guys found out a way to extend the brand by shooting the bubbles into the air and making combos with colors, and you would eliminate screens and blah blah blah. If you played Bust a Move or Puzzle Bobble, you know exactly what we're talking about. They are great in their own way.
Yeah.
But if you come to these going, well, I'm going to get my Bubble Bobble fix. No, you don't.
Yeah. No.
You don't.
No.
Like it's not
No.
the same. It's cool. It's got its own thing going, and there are tons of these ports too. They're everywhere. Neo Geo had their own special one. The NES, Genesis, everybody had one.
So many clones. I had my favorite. I didn't really play the official Bust a Move versions, but I played. Linux used to come with Penguin Bobble or some Penguin Bubble Penguin or something like that. Frozen Penguin. Anyway, it was this game with the Linux Penguin, and I played the crap out of it.
There's never been a game that would come closer in my household to causing my wife and I to split up than this game. Dude, I'm not kidding
Peggle,
either.
It was this?
It was this. I mean, the multiplayer in it, because you go head-to-head.
Oh.
And the head-to-head mode did that features where if you cleared a ton of balls on her side, or bubbles rather, I guess they're not balls. On her side, a ton would stack, right?
Yeah.
So they get it in Tetris. Same idea. Tetris does this too. But suddenly there are just a trillion of these balls on her side that artificially make her level go and shove it all up. And she would get so freaking mad at me. And I dominated. I was really good at it. And I played a lot.
Right.
And I kicked her A every other day. And she
kicked her A every other day.
She hated it, dude. Hated it.
That's a great topic for a show. What game almost tore your family apart? It should be what co-op game almost tore your family apart? I think our family almost melted down on Lego Indiana Jones.
Really?
I think that was the one.
Wait, that's because it's co-op and you need people to be doing stuff and
because if someone lags behind, it causes problems.
Yeah.
So
I could see that. Well, anyway, take care of your marriages. Get rid of the busted moves. Okay. Oh yeah, chat room. The modern version of this is Overcooked 1 and 2. Those games. People get so pissed. My kids will play this when they all come over. The kind of swears coming out of my kids, dude. I mean, I trained a bunch of non-potty mouths, but you should hear them when that goes kicking off. You think me saying shit every once in a while is bad?
Right. Ooh. You ought to hear the Johnson household on Overcooked night.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. There's a couple of games, though, newer games that are kind of overcooked, but are a little more co-op friendly, meaning they're not about getting mad at each other. They're more about working together.
Right.
I mean, Overcooked does exactly what it was set out to do. It's set out to piss you off and freak you out and make you laugh and throw the controller across the room. It does all those things, and that's fine. Also, what else? That's it. That's the game.
We didn't even cover all of it. That's how much Bobble there is. But we tried to hit the best parts.
Yeah.
And I'm sure somebody's going to call in and say, but you forgot about X. Yeah. And I'm going to say, apologies. We did. Yeah. And the chances are whatever X equals, it will have a title that sounds like we already talked about it. But because it was on the Spectrum ZX, they had to call it 2. Even though it was 1 and a port of an arcade game that was called Rainbow Buttholes or something like that. I almost made it down. I made it about an eighth of the way down the Rainbow Islands Road. And I said, I need to look at this. I'm like, am I going down the wrong path? And then I loaded up Parasol Stars from the TurboGrafx 16, which is also an amazing game. Totally different game mechanics. Developed intentionally that way to be independent games. And they're totally different games. And I'm like, okay, we need to save those for later because there's no way we'll be able to talk about all the Bubble Bobble, Rainbow Islands, Parasol Stars, and Bust a Move all in the same episode. Yeah. We're going to get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Some of these days, we got to do a whole episode on these recharged Atari games. So they're all new, right?
We got a Sprint just came out with one, right? The Sprint Racing.
Yes, I think so. Well, I have like 6 of them. I have Gravatar, I have Asteroids recharged, I have they go on sale once in a while. They're only $10 normally. They're great. Some of these are actually really great, and we should.
Neo Sprint just came out this week.
Is that what it is?
Neo Sprint zooms back to the life as a single screen arcade racer. Looks like it's going to be on your Xbox Game Passes, maybe. Let's see, up to 8 players. Here, I don't know if you have the link or not. Here, I'm going to post.
I don't have it handy, no.
The Discord server right underneath my Taito Legends 2, which I need to order. For the PS2.
Oh, and thanks for the reminder. Oakleaf88 in the chat says Yars Recharged is awesome. The Yars Revenge Recharged. Yes. I really want that. How much is that right
now?
That's only $4.49. Add to cart. Add to cart right now.
Holy Yars shit. Is one of those few. Lots of people will go back to the Atari 2600 games and go, "Oh, these suck. These all suck." There's actually a few games that don't suck.
There are a few.
There's a few.
They're
But
not a
you're
lot.
right. By and large, there's a lot of suck on the Atari 2600. It doesn't hold up at all. But
No.
there's a few things that are really good.
I was waiting for this this Yars 2 thing to hit a deal, and it did.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
I'd be
buy
there
it
too.
right now as we sit here. Hold on a second here. Continue.
And once you get done with that, pick up your Neo Sprint. And
So it's
take a
called
look at
Neo
that. So
Sprint.
Neo Sprint. So that Sprint
Okay.
is back.
All right, let me take a look here. Hold on. I got to wait for this thing to take my stupid number.
Take your money. Take
Yeah,
my money. And show it on screen too. Don't forget to show.
Yeah,
your
I got to show
credit
all of
card
the
number on.
everything about my
Thanks.
personal
Is that-
data. I'd like to
That's
show.
your Venmo. That's
Yeah,
good. That'll work.
all that
Thank you.
stuff. What's it called? Neo Sprint, you say? Neo Sprint?
Yeah, Neo Sprint, not Neosporin. I put it in the Discord server if you don't like searching for stuff. And you said you don't want to click on a link.
Ooh, look at this.
Ooh.
So this is an actual Sprint title.
Yes,
Meaning this
it
is a
Sprint
official
title
thing.
from Atari. Yes, from officially on the Atari.com website.
They have
they've been-
I'm sorry, they have track editors in this?
Yes,
All
little
right.
toy guys, racist Horace.
I'm getting this. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Look at these little
Checking
3D
out this
cars. Let's see the reviews so far, all positive. Only 5, but
only 5, but
Yeah.
still.
yeah.
Yeah,
Gravatar.
$25
yeah.
it looks like on Xbox Game Pass. So there you go.
Oh, it's on Game Pass or
Or
just,
I'm sorry, not Xbox Game, but it's on Xbox.
just
That's-
Xbox?
yeah.
Okay. Price
what I
on
thought I wanted.
Steam is currently $22.49. So there's that.
Nice.
And Steam Deck verified now.
Nice.
All right, so go check it out. Thank you, Oakleaf, for the reminder and also the sale reminder. I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm very excited now. Okay, well, that's it for that. Let's get to a game of our own making and design. It's a little game we call Guess Our Game. And we bring audio to the table, a couple of bits of information, and a list of options, and we try to stump each other as to what game it is. Brian, I'm going to start this week with a game from 1988.
Oh.
Yeah. It is in the arcade is where we're going to stay. So we're going to
Okay,
we're right
good
around the
plan.
time you might be playing Bubble Bobble at the same week you'd check this game out, perhaps. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's your sound, and then we'll talk about which options are what. So here you go. Okay, this next part's important. That might help you to hear that part. All right, so we're going to see how you do here.
All right.
Here are your options. Is it A, Operation Wolf? Is it B? Oh, I should say this. These all came out that year, so I'm giving you a good narrow down.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Smart.
Operation Wolf, B, Assault, C,
Mm-hmm.
Twin Cobra, or D, RoboCop. Which of those?
Well, I didn't hear him say Opera Murphy, so I don't think it's.
I would have cut that out, just so you know. If it was in there, I cut those things out. So it could be still.
It started off with it sounded like somebody was zipping up their shirt or something.
There is a zipper thing. Here, let me play it again. Here you go.
Right.
There's a zipper sound, which is pretty impressive for 88. Most of the voice stuff
It
in
is.
games
It is.
sucked back then. But
Oh man.
so what do you think?
It sounds like okay, so I know where I'm leaning towards, but I don't remember seeing the opening screen, so that zipping up part doesn't sound familiar at all. But the rest of it sounds very familiar, and I'm just not sure. I'm gonna have to. I don't think it's. I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm gonna say I don't think it's B Assault. I don't think it's Twin Cobra, and I don't think it's RoboCop, even though it's gonna be RoboCop. I think it is A, Operation Wolf.
All right, well, let's find out. You say Operation Wolf. What does the judge say? The judge says, where are my buttons? Hold on. Shit. Why did I lose my... Oh, here we go. The judge says, you are correct. It is
Yes.
Operation Wolf. That's another Taito game.
Yes, and
Yeah.
because most games don't shoot that fast. You got your light gun going.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that game. I played the crap out of Operation Wolf.
That
at
game
the
is
movie theater, believe it or not.
crazy cool looking for its
Yeah.
time. Like, this is pretty advanced shit. There were helicopters to blow up, trucks to blow up, little dudes constantly. It was a light gun game.
Yeah.
But I don't know, this just preceded a lot of other light gun games in a way that's impressive for the year. And the sound effects, so good. Like those
so
voice
good.
effects and the zipper and stuff. Like, how are they even doing that? There were plenty of games still to come that just sounded like ass. So I don't know what they did.
Yeah. And it was so much fun. It's hard to emulate because you got to have a light gun to do it at the house. But man, if you ever get a chance to play Operation Wolf at an arcade somewhere, man, it is tight. I love, instead of having to do that stupid shoot down, like to reload and stuff, I've always hated that. You have on-screen ammunition that you shoot and it just all flies off screen and stuff. It is a pleasure to see and a pleasure to hear.
Yeah. Or as my dad would say, a pleasure to play in here.
A pleasure.
Pleasier. All right, Brian, let's do yours. We got some audio. What's my year? What's my system? What do we got?
So you're firing up your Sega Master System from 1987, and I'm not sure if you're sliding in one of the cards or if you're pushing in the slot. I can't remember, but that's where you're at. Sega Master System,
okay,
1987.
Let's play it and see what we got. Definitely sounds like an 8-bit game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a very interesting sound. All right, let's hear this bit. All right, what are my options here?
Your options are A, Alex Kidd in Miracle World, B, Zillion, C, Wonder Boy, or D, Fantasy Zone.
Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so unversed in the Master System universe. I don't like. Okay, I'll eliminate it like you do. No Wonder Boy, because I've played Wonder Boy. That's not this.
Yeah, I think I got Wonder Boy playing on the back right now. I sure do.
Yeah, I loved Wonder Boy. All the Wonder Boy monsters. That's what you got over there, or Monster?
Yeah, Monster Lake
3, right? Is it 3?
Yeah, 3, I believe. Yes, 3. That's 3.
I have the new remake of that. It's very good.
Yes, we're gonna do Wonder Boy too.
Yeah, Wonder Boy deserves some love. I don't even know what Zillion is, so I'm taking that off. Fantasy Zone or Alex Kidd in Miracle World? Actually, I kind of know what all three of those are, and the only one I don't know is Zillion, and this stuff sounds wrong to me, so maybe it is. You know what? I'm gonna say Zillion. I'm winging it. Zillion.
All right. Well, you would be correct.
I got it right.
Right. And if you've ever played Zillion, or Fantasy Zone for that matter, I don't know if you remember Fantasy Zone or not, but it's got that weird little spaceship looking thing.
Oh no, I do remember that one. Yeah,
a little spaceship thing. Yeah. And so the Zillion, it starts off, it's got little spaceship, little dilly thing too. So there's connective tissue there between those two games. And Alex Kidd, man, I played the crap out of that on my Sega Master System.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull up Zillion just to show the chat.
Recently.
Oh yeah, a little run and gun deal.
Yeah,
kind of a well, what am I comparing this to? There's something in my head. Can't think of it. Well, anyway,
it was also based on some. Is it anime? I believe it was. Is that right?
Is there an anime?
It was a
manga.
The Zillion anime series from 1987.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I've been watching old 80s anime lately.
Yeah.
Let me give you a recommendation and a warning. If you like cool sci-fi, otherworldly business in anime with lots of action, lots of violence, lots of cool demon shit and all that. I got a good one for you. It came out in 1987, I think, or 6. And I'd never heard of it before. It's called Wicked City. And I really liked it, but boy, did they just love finding excuses to put naked bullshit in there. Like just for no reason. It's like, oh, here's a scene where we'll just go ahead and she'll get naked for no reason. It's just we'll do it. And
do you know? Do you have any idea the number of Bobble adult clones I found along the way?
Really?
Jesus.
Why? Why is that game attractive?
I don't know. I was going through I was doing I was just doing Bubble BUBL and just looking for anything that had those words in it in MAME collections and trying to load them up, and they would load up and be like Bobble whatever, and it would say something weird. It would spell like Bubble Babble or something like that. And next thing I know, it's artistic nudes, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Can I just have some peace?
I mean, it's fine. It's for whoever it's for. I guess I just like,
Right.
I was just like, oh, all right. Well, I wanted to watch. I was maybe going to recommend this to my daughter. I don't think I am now. Like, this is nasty.
I just wish for once I could be looking for porn instead of porn looking for me. You know what I mean? It just feels like that's what's going on.
Yeah, you're not in there with it. It's in there with you, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Why always try to fight me? Leave me alone.
That made me
Try to
laugh.
live my life.
Well, anyway, good job to both of us. We both got it right.
Oh, doing so good.
Pretty proud of ourselves.
Welcome to the treasure room.
Speaking of treasures, we got a couple of things or ways you can get a hold of us. For example, 801-471-0462. You can use that for voicemails and texts and or whichever you prefer. Okay, so use it at your leisure. PlayRetroShow@gmail.com is also a place you can send stuff, and that's where we're pulling from today. We got one from Pop Melon.
Oh,
I feel like I've seen
how
that
perfect!
name.
How perfect! That's exactly what I did this last week.
Yeah,
popping in melons. Yep,
popping the old melons. I got you. Tondagosa, by the way, I just wanted to shout out how much I appreciate him bringing up Choplifter once again in today's discussion. Thank you.
So beautiful.
Tondagosa.
So beautiful. Looking forward.
Yeah, always good to hear what he has to say. By the way, it's so funny. We're like, I don't know, total people watching the stream somewhere in the 500 range.
Right.
Yesterday for core, we usually are somewhere in the 1,000 range, but for some reason we were about 128. And I was like, what could possibly be going on that all these people that usually tune in aren't watching? What's going on? I went, oh, that freaking presidential debates. That's what they were watching. I can't believe they chose.
Gosh.
You chose that over me?
Why would anybody want to watch that? Look, it's fine. Vote whoever you want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's your prerogative. This is what I think. Did anybody think going in that it was going to change your mind or change anything whatsoever? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What's the point? We've been hanging out with these. It's not like they're new. We've been hanging out with these same two guys for over a decade.
Yeah.
There's nothing new to say.
No. Come over here. Let's talk about video games. Let's do that instead.
Yeah.
Let's debate that, yo. All right. Anyway, here's your email. This is from Pop Melon, who says, "Hey, I really enjoyed your segment on the recent Image Comics episode welcoming Spawn into the retro world." Do I still have that here? Spawn. See if I can find it.
Welcome in. Good day, Internet.
Oh, I can't find it. Oh, did they just head over? That's nice. Always
I love it when Good Day Internet comes over. I
like
love that
too.
I hate that I missed that show when we're doing this show. We need to move a little bit.
Chicken.
No, it's not it. I can't.
Chicken. Body blow.
No.
I don't like.
No.
Why do they have to walk that fast?
Not that. No.
That's one of my favorites of the Sega Saturn.
It's pretty good, right?
I love it so much. Yeah.
That brings
anyway,
back some
Scott's
memories.
trying to find the Spawn.
Yeah, I can't find it
from the game. It is so good.
Anyway, he says, I think that it'd be awesome if each week
Division.
or each month you guys looked at what games released exactly 20 years ago and do a retro welcome to those games. I think it'd be a great overview, a segment that might bring up games that you have long forgotten. All the best, Pop Melon. You know what? I love this idea.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
yeah.
I'm going to do it right now. Let's see what happened today.
Games,
I think there's like a website.
Games released in 2004. So what you do is you go to that, and then you go find the month. Let's see. So
how are you doing that math so fast? 20 years ago?
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy. All right. So let's see. Let's go back. What month? Okay. How we do?
So it is the week before July the 4th. So we're looking at June the 28th. What happened this day in gaming history? Didn't Tom Merritt used to do this today in tech or something like that?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's a perfect tie-in.
Hold on. So here we go. I'm trying to find. No, it's July. I want June. Where's June? There's no June releases. Oh, here we go. June 15th, we had NCAA Football 2005. On June 11th, we had Firepower for Microsoft Combat Simulator 3. Let's see. For June 1st, Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. Awesome game. I cannot believe that's suddenly retro, but whatever.
Right.
Let's see. June 14th, Out of the Park Baseball 6 on the for Windows. Let's see. Boy, there wasn't a lot of June releases, dude.
That's okay. We got a June release this year that we will never forget, which is going to be yesterday and today, I guess officially, was Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. If you had that on your 3DS, and I did, I'm pretty excited about the remake.
Yeah, that looks really good. So wait, that wasn't 04, was it, or was it?
No, it wasn't that far back.
Yeah, we didn't even have
something that happened recently in today in future history.
Yeah, because we didn't even
20
have
years from now.
Yeah, we didn't have the DS until November of this year, 20 years ago. But 20 years ago, this November, two things are retro that day. If the 20 years is the thing, and one is World of Warcraft, same weekend as the DS came out, by the way. So retail release of World of Warcraft and the Nintendo DS come out. Those are your 20-year anniversaries come November. But I think that'd be fun, like welcoming in games that are now suddenly officially in the 20-year thing. That's great.
We need like a stinger. This like, oh hi, hello, and welcome to Retro, and we should introduce that.
Yeah, or something.
Spider-Man 2, developed by Treyarch and published by Activision.
Sweet.
The game was released on multiple platforms, including Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox. 20 years old.
Good Lord, that's crazy, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Oh wait, here's Spider-Man. I found the list for June. June did not have a ton of releases. Like summer's usually pretty quiet, and it's also E3 normally back in the day. So it doesn't surprise me. But come July and August, you had all kinds of stuff coming up. Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door comes out on July 22nd, 20 years ago, and they just did a remake of that. Still, maybe one of the greatest games ever made. Oh man, that's such a good
greatest games.
Beautiful Joe comes out on August 24th.
I forgot about Beautiful Joe. That's a great game.
All right, this is a fun idea. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. Thank you
for
that idea.
Next week's template.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing, Pop Melon. I appreciate it. If you'd like to be like Pop Melon and give us ideas, thoughts, comments, whatever. You don't like the way we smell, whatever you want to do. Send us an email, playretroshow@gmail.com, or you can text us at 801-471-0462. Brian, it's now time for the Retro Report. What's going on over there?
Oh, hi. So don't forget, over at RetroGIB or RetroGib.com, we continue to have information for Roller Coaster Tycoon, Unreal Tournament 99, and Unreal Tournament 2004. So if you're interested in playing any of those community servers, go ahead and jump on now. If you want to take part of the show or just get hooked up with somebody else to play on those servers, a lot of our community hangs out on Discord. You can find that information by going to frogpants.com/Discord. Yeah. And I want to thank, I've been telling you, I'm a big old Chivo, there's a Chivo ho this week.
Chivo ho. Yep.
I hated to say it like that, but it just kind of flows. Retroachievements.org is and then I'm mission deep over there. So I want to thank Taffy Guy, Warp Forge, Tenacious Warden, Atari Magnum, and more for following me over there. As a result, I followed you right back, and now I get to see what retro achievements you're making. And I had quite a few on Bobble this week. When I say quite a few, I mean like 8.
Yeah, no,
out of 20 something.
Still pretty good though.
It's not. I'm making progress. Am I making progress?
I don't know. What do you? You're making progress. Something. Whatever you're making, you're making it. You're making it happen.
I'm making it.
All right, that is gonna do it for that. Thank you guys for checking that out. And also next week we are going to discuss our next game. Our next game is going to be Toe Jam and Earl, the entire series. Oh. Well, it's 2 games, but still, it's a series, right? Toe Jam and Earl 1 stands as one of my favorite things that ever happened on the Genesis. And if you ask me what 2 is about, I couldn't tell you because I think I fell off real quick. So we'll see if it's still, if it was even bad. Maybe it was just me. I
think it was just you.
It might have been just me. But I thought Toe Jam and Earl the first one, was really a revelation for the console. It was great. It was one of Sega's best. And we're going to talk about Toe Jam and Earl. There's also a new game. I have that game as well. I need to try it.
Yeah.
I haven't. 3rd in the series, technically. Anyway, that's next week. Our discussion will be Toe Jam and Earl. A reminder that we are supported by you people at home at patreon.com/playretro. When you go do that, you get no commercials ever, monthly benefits, and pre-show content every week. So go sign up like and Kurtz and Joe Saporito.
I know both of those guys.
Do you?
Thank you.
Well, they're good. Yes. They're good men who've decided to step up and support our show. So huge thanks. Go support your favorite show now at patreon.com/playretro. Everything else is at frogpants.com/playretro, and that is going to do it for us. Brian, final words you might have? for the people at home?
Yes. Don't do drugs. No. I'm enjoying my Atari VCS, and I'm going to be doing some videos very shortly with that, how to run Batacera on this machine, because the built-in OS is not great, and I'm putting a new hard drive in here and some more memory. And I'm sorry that your OS is not great, but Batacera is really filling the gap for me. So thank you for that.
Okay, cool. I was going to play some Smack Talk, but I can't find it.
Smack Talk.
Because that was a little bit of Smack Talk there. Where's
It was a little bit. I didn't mean for it. When I first started saying it, I didn't feel like I was going to be that mean. But then by the time I was done, I was like, oh, that sounds kind of mean. And I was like, okay.
I don't know what happened to it. I have you saying it somewhere and I lost it.
Yeah, I'll just Smack Talk. There we go.
That's not it. No. What is this? Hold on.
I am doing our community event tonight, though. I saw you did the couch party earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Join the community.
Join the community event. Get in there. Check it out. DM Brian. He'll give you all the details. That'll do it for us. Thank you all for watching, for listening, and being there in general. Go play something retro, and we'll see you next time.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
There you go.